Thank you all for taking the time to attend today's session. Hopefully you will leave with a few tools that, more than what you might have already had as it relates to belonging. Um, I am going to be your session host for today. My name is Candace Birdsong Williams, Diversity, Inclusion, and Belonging Manager here at GitLab. We also have JC, who is a session host as well from our Learning and Development group. A part of what we want to think about today is understanding that this is a safe space. We want to assume positive intent. We also want to know and have you feel that it's okay to disagree. We want to have fun and be open and just learn some, good tips to handle what about being belonging will be making us better here at GitLab. We want you to gain an understanding of how GitLab defines belonging and also what are the behaviors that are associated with that. And hopefully you will be able to also develop some strategies of how to cultivate belonging in your personal life and at work. Because I always say a lot of who we are at work, we kind of bring that home and vice versa. So, we want to be able to be our best selves at both.
So we do have a quick Menti exercise. So you can either go to menti.com and enter this code, or they have this fun new feature where there's a QR code. So I know if you have an iPhone, you should be able to just turn on the camera and hold it up and it will take you to the right web page. And then just answer this question. Also, can someone not in the US tell me if the QR code is universal or does it
works in Europe? Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you. And I will pull up the results quick so you can start to see what other people are saying. And you can submit more than one. Awesome. These are really great. Candace, I'll pass it back over to you.
All right, great. I see heard, appreciated, welcoming, shared values, being accepted as you are. And when you think about all of these things, you think about how you started a company, you think about, if you're someone who's been in a company for a long time, it doesn't matter whether you're new to the company or been here for a while, that belonging piece never changes. It's so important to who we are at its core. And so at GitLab, one of how we approach diversity, inclusion, and belonging, as you all may recall or may not, is that we originally started with diversity and inclusion. Diversity being one of our core values, and that being, all the layers that make up who we are. Knowing all of who we are, whether you are a mom, a single dad, no children, you live in a part of the country that, a lot of people don't live in, you come from a big family, small family, all those diversity layers that make up who we are. And then there's that inclusion piece of, I know who you are, I know those, and you still invited to the party and you have a seat at the table. But then there's that belonging element that says, I can show up and say, I have this, I have that, whether you are neurodiverse, elements of, things that we can't see, such as bipolar, ADHD, all of those things, you feel safe knowing that you can show up and say and be who you are here at work and still feel empowered and still feel that you're in a safe space. So the reason why we even brought in belonging is because when we did the diversity survey back in February, we heard from GitLab at large, and a lot of people, team members were saying, this is the part that really resonates with them. And so we wanted to listen and add that to who we are as a culture here at GitLab. I think, one of the things that we all may know or may not know is a sense of belonging. It's a need, it's not a want. So it's kind of like food. You don't, say I want food, you do, but you need it. You need it to nourish who you are, to build on who you are. So when you go to a company, you have friends around you, you have relationships outside of work, in work. We need to feel welcomed. And I think that a lot of us, whether you've witnessed it or been a part of it, you've seen people or felt it sometimes when you're not welcome. You ever walk into a room and you're like, okay, whether it's a store, whether it's whatever it is, and you feel kind of oddball out, it's that right there that you want to feel welcome. And when you do feel welcome, it's a different sense. It works up a different energy in you. You also want to feel valued. You need to feel valued for your contributions, and we need to feel as though we are collaborating for all a common purpose within the company. And we need to have our gifts celebrated about who we are. So if you've ever been in past companies or situations, and you know there are certain things about you that family members say that's awesome, but at work, they may not be seen and valued. We need to have ourselves celebrated. That's a part of who we are at our core. And when you don't have those things and those needs aren't met, there's psychological consequences to that. Again, whether you had this happen to you before or whether you observed it, I mean, there's sadness that happens. And that's one of the elements that, yes, if you're resilient, you can bounce back from a lot of these things, but sadness is something that really kind of wears on you at some point, and you have to make decisions that will be for your well-being. You have anger, decreased self-esteem. There's that baggage. You ever seen someone come to a new place, a new company, new friendship, new relationship, and they're bringing baggage with them where you don't understand maybe why they're reacting the way that they're reacting, and they're doing so because they've been in situations that have made them feel inferior or made them feel a certain kind of way, and they're expecting that same from that person or that company. We have incorrect self-perception that happens due to being excluded. We have the inability to focus and do great work. I don't know about a lot of you, but I know that if I'm frustrated or there are things going on, I don't feel like I can be my best. And if I feel like the core of that is because of something that a company, excuse me, that I'm working at, that makes it even harder. And it's kind of like the reason why it's in stair steps, it's kind of like a chain reaction or a stair step, whereas in once you feel that way, then the communication is broken. You get to the point where you say to yourself, I don't even really feel like bringing it up because I don't know that it's going to make a difference. I don't know that my voice matters. I don't know that what I'm going to say, because no one has acted, is going to change the outcome. So I'm just going to keep it to myself. And then that just becomes that self problem and not anybody else's. And it's just a snowball effect at that point. And then, of course, as a result, team members leave. Why do we want belonging? I think, where we might say it's obvious, it makes us better. It makes us better. When you cultivate an atmosphere of belonging, people feel like they can produce their best work. People feel like, they can show up as their full selves. I've been in meetings where I see, I don't know if a lot of you have experienced this here at GitLab or other companies, where you get in a meeting and it's certain people you meet with where you feel like your energy is just, in a different space. You feel like you can be creative. You feel like you're at your best self. But then when you get in a meeting with others or conversations with others, you feel like it's stifled, or you feel, so those are elements of belonging or something being off with it that's keeping that from happening. One of the things that team members, we discover, is that team members are more engaged and commit more when they have a sense of belonging. And so there's an HBR study that you can click on at your leisure to learn more about that. But 40% of people felt isolated at work, while only 34% had a sense of belonging at work. There's also another study showing that it led to lower organizational commitment and belonging. So if you're trying to achieve goals, one of the things that you should really try to work on is that element of belonging. Because when you feel that, you want to stay longer where you are. You're happier, you're more productive, you're more engaged, you have better growth potential. And when you look at another thing too, you've looked at certain team members at this company or other companies, and you say to yourself, why are they excelling? Or why are they doing this? Or your perception is they are excelling. And it's because they feel like they're where they should be at. They belong. And whether it's someone that's informally mentoring them, someone who's invested in them, someone, a team member who always makes them feel like they're where they should be, they do better. And if you don't have that, we want to make sure you get that. So this slide really kind of brings in that no matter whether you're LGBTQA, whether where you're at around the globe, autism, neurodiversity, bipolar, ADHD, Tourette's, any of some neurological system disorders, we celebrate that. Single mother, single father, children in the home, no children in the home, diverse abilities. And I say that intentionally because a lot of times the dis kind of minuses the effort. So not disability, but diverse ability. And then, a lot of times we look at things within companies where, people may say accent is a problem. And it really, I've had a couple of conversations with GitLab team members in past roles. And what I've really learned is whether you say it or not, the way that you respond to someone who may have a different accent, those are elements of feeling like, you do or you don't belong. So, all of those things being said, it really emphasizes that you still belong here despite all those different things. You can show up and be your full self here at GitLab. And we want to embrace that. Those are your identities. You don't want to, be someone else at home and have to be another individual at work. So here, this slide, I want to talk about, what actions do or don't support belonging. One of the things that, I kind of want to focus on the do and then the opposite of it, creating a welcoming environment. And so the opposite of that would be not acknowledging new team members when they're known. So if you see them on a call, or you might say hey to the first two or three people and not to other people because you don't know who they are. One of the best approaches is saying hi to everyone, acknowledging someone's present. Ask team members for input is a do. The opposite of that, excluding stakeholders and are those that should be in the discussion. And if you feel like there's some exclusion, bring it to someone's attention. But also having empathy. A lot of time, I hear from people that say, "I'm just not a mushy type," or "I'm just not a vulnerable type." You don't have to be a mushy or vulnerable type to have empathy and understand. If someone is a mother, you don't have to have children to say, "Oh, I understand," but you can understand where there are demands that would look different than yours. So having empathy is very, very, very important. Void of feelings altogether, is the opposite of that. You want to be an ally. And the opposite of that, being unsupportive, if it doesn't pertain to you. A lot of people live in a space where if it doesn't affect me or doesn't come in my space, then I'm not going to worry about it. But the end result is it will affect everything because you'll have an unproductive team member and things of that nature. So we want to make sure that we do our best to champion each other and advocate for each other, especially when others don't have voice, that they're able to do. Use your privilege, use your power whenever possible. You want to speak up when you feel someone is being excluded or treated unfairly. And you don't want to open up something that someone hasn't thought about. But if someone comes to you and they're talking about, they feel excluded, you want to be there for them and you want to talk about it and you want to observe that, and make sure you're doing everything you can to make them feel included, which will really be contagious, and other team members will typically start doing the same. So one of the things that we want to give you a tool is, what if you do, or what to do if someone, whether it's yourself or someone else, has this space of not feeling they belong, or they're the belonging factor. And that is, if it's yourself, you want to talk to a team member. You want to be able to reach out to your PVP. You want to be transparent. I know a lot of people always fear, if I tell a PVP this, the human resource business partner, or I tell someone this, then it's a target on my back, or then I'm afraid of this. The part about belonging is that psychological safety, that no matter what I say, no matter what I do, I can still be vocal, say what I need to say, and I'm okay. I'm still where I need to be. And so that belonging ability is to kind of embrace that. Reach out to a DIB team member, myself, Liam. There's a Slack, there's an email as well for the DIB team on the DIB page. And or you can get a coach, informal or formal. If someone were to come to you, one of the things that I would say is, listen and be empathetic. Advise all the things I said to the left, but offer support in any conversation that they have. And don't, sometimes when you do that immediate, following up, don't drop the ball. Have a conversation and say, hey, how did the situation go? Was there resolve to it? Is there anything further that I can do to assist you? Because I don't know about yourself, but there are times when certain team members or certain people in your life can make or break a situation. Be that person to make a situation. Be that person to make a difference in someone's career or someone's life or their situation. So we are getting to our activity where we're going to take 10 minutes, and we're going to be in a small group in a breakout session, and we're going to talk about, choose one of the three areas, and you want to talk through the characteristics, the behaviors exhibited, the actions from others, discuss, what you felt represented belonging or what could have been done differently. And I really like being able to talk through things, and I hope that you all take an opportunity to be truly transparent, again, whether you're talking about yourself or talking about others. Please be as transparent as possible. I think that sharing helps others. It's a gift. So JC will take us to our breakouts.
Yeah, I will put everyone in breakout rooms. Let's see. There will be probably like 3 or 4 people in each room. So I am opening them now, so you'll be prompted to accept. Everyone is back now. So we're gonna debrief. I'm gonna not share my screen if that's okay. I think it's nicer when we can see who's talking better, if that's okay.
I agree. We're wrapping it up. We're getting close to wrapping it up. So, I would love to take a moment, and anyone who wants to speak up for group one as an example and talk about kind of what they were. And please don't feel like this has to be any special format. If you were in group one and you want to say, oh, hey, this is one of the things I thought about, and someone didn't capture it all in their comments, please feel free to speak up. But I would love to hear what your discussions look like for anybody who wants to speak up for group one.
Is that our group?
I think so. Yeah.
Yep.
I have a thought to add, Jessica. If you have something, go ahead. I can go after. No. I thought that it was interesting. Like, a theme that I just heard from our group was that we all sort of shared an experience of when we didn't feel belonging, and then something that happened that changed the way that we felt in a scenario, or that we we took action to be in a place where we felt a sense of belonging. And something that I just noticed was that became so clear that when you are able to find a group of people or a community that you feel like your voice can be heard, it directly translates to feeling as if you belong in that group. So that just like a short thing that I'm kind of processing based on what I just heard from the rest of group one.
I love that. And it does. It's something, that happens that can make or break you in the situations, in those times of that moment of, okay, I feel like I belong, or no, I don't. And it's, sometimes it's a person that says, oh no, you do. And this is why. Or sometimes it's a situation. So that's a great call out, Samantha. Thank you for that. Anyone else want to add to group one? All right, group two, who would like to speak up for our group? I do enough talking, so if Terry or Emily or Max would like to summarize what we talked about.
I feel like we all shared things at past jobs where we felt like we didn't belong necessarily, and also people shared some really good things about what they do and have done at past jobs to make others feel like they belong by speaking up and showing kind of not like weaknesses, but just showing like their real selves and showing that like you're just not this perfect social media feed of everything amazing. And I thought that was really nice. And they also talked about some tactics to help like step aside to let others' voices be heard and to encourage others to by asking their opinions in meetings and whatnot.
I love that. Thank you for summarizing. Group three.
That was me, Garcia, Nicholas, and Gary. We're probably going to all echo similar sentiments, and I think we shared some kind of similar things from where we didn't feel belonging. But I think where we came together at the end was how kind of discussing about how when you find a place where you do feel like you belong, those things that you thought about yourself that were maybe a negative are actually a strength. And if you're in a place where you feel you belong, you can kind of turn that around, and it allows you to not only be happier where you are, but be better at your job. And so that was something that I think we sort of, after the kind of the sad stories of not belonging and then kind of coming here, I think Nicholas expressed it in a really good way. Being fairly new to GitLab is getting that feeling right away here. And so the importance of belonging in that regard. It was a really nice conversation. I don't know if any of you three want to add to that.
That was perfect.
I love that. I love that. And you know, it is that piece where we say to ourselves sometimes something that you thought was maybe off about yourself or not as strong of a skill, that, you know, when you belong somewhere that is valued, you see it show up and you're valued. And I can appreciate that. Thanks, Haley, and group 3. Appreciate that. Group 4.
Hannah, do you want to go for us?
Sure. I couldn't remember what group we were, but I'm happy to, Rebecca. Our group actually talked about times where we felt belonging, and we really got stuck on sharing those stories, which was awesome. And I feel more uplifted now somehow after having it. So it was wonderful to hear perspectives of really what was like, how we all came to that feeling. And whether it was, you know, past, you know, experiences at organizations or even being here. But I think the theme was diversity really played a big part in showing up authentically. And we got to share experiences about how curiosity and asking lots of questions can also be a very powerful tool, especially for managers of teams who are very diverse, and to encourage the sense of belonging and encouraging feedback, especially with reps that may be more introverted too. So it was fun to share ideas in addition to sharing really awesome stories where we truly did feel like we belonged and that we were valued. So it was an awesome chat with Rebecca and Łukasz.
Oh, yeah. Oh my gosh. I love that, Hannah. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love when I hear the words inspire, it takes me to a different place. And, you know, before we see if anyone else, I want to see if there are any other thoughts before I do one more thing. And it's something that maybe I know that probably Emily or Haley have seen me do before, but I think it's something that kind of resonates in you when you do it, because it makes you think a little bit differently and you go from there. But are there any other thoughts before I do it?
I just had one thought after hearing all of this, which is that it felt like sharing these stories between ourselves sort of caused us all to be a little bit more vulnerable. And it's a neat exercise in that way, because it causes you to sort of feel a time when you yourself were weak, and think about how you got through that or how you evolved past that. So I like the exercise itself.
Chills, Jessica, chills. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I wanted to take a moment, to be on time with the meeting and before we do it. And I wanted to go around, even starting with you, JC, even though you're our L&D, you're our host, session host as well. But I wanted to take a moment for each person to say why you belong here, why you feel like you belong here. Because I think affirmation is a powerful thing. And I think it kind of changes whether it's for your day, it's for your week. I think that it's a powerful thing. So if you don't mind, I would love to start with JC and just go across the screen and keep going row by row until we get to each person and say why you belong here.
Gosh, I'm on the spot. I feel like I belong here because I see other people working here that are similar to me and have been able to progress in their career here. And that gives me a lot of hope for being here at GitLab and seeing women move to different roles and into leadership roles and things like that. So that's why I feel like I belong here.
Oh, I love that. I feel like I belong here because as a mother, a single mother of 3 Black girls and holding this diversity, inclusion, and belonging role, it means a lot. I feel like it impacts lives. And so being able to see the results of that and see people change, and I'm working for a company that's very flexible. They let me do and kind of do my day as I need to. So I know that I belong here because I work with great people that show up in diverse places and experiences and faces. And so I know that I belong here and I know that I'm supposed to be here right now. Hannah?
I feel that I belong here because I'm encouraged to be my authentic self in everyday interactions. And I have a seat at the table where I truly do feel that my voice is valued and heard and actioned on daily, which is incredible. And I also agree that like working with such incredible thought leadership and diversity, it's truly wonderful. And so being included in that is just awesome. So
Rebecca?
I belong here because the futures and careers of women and children are I have an 8-year-old daughter. They're very, very important to me. And so I feel like GitLab is a place where I can do that and do well at it and be an example to her and others and create space for others to join in.
I love that. Lucas?
Thanks. Sorry, that was Niklas, not Lucas. Okay, sorry.
No, you're next. Go ahead, please. No, please tell us why you.
Me? Okay. So yeah, I feel like I belong here because I don't have to pretend. I don't have to rush when I don't feel like rushing. I don't need to slow down if I feel like it's a good time to do something. And I don't need to ask for permission to do something. I just do things.
Yes, that part. I love that. Terry?
I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I belong here because I'm a good dev, but I go through days where I don't. It's just encouraging to be parts of a team and to see that everyone's voice is truly like heard. It doesn't matter who you are or what team you're on, that the input is always encouraged from everyone.
Yes. Max?
Yeah, 100% with what Terry said. Sometimes I feel like a good dev. But yeah, no, I feel like I can come to work and be myself because of who I am, I guess, rather than despite who I am.
Perfect. That was great. I love the wording for that. Jessica?
So I came to GitLab because of its values. And so in that first just introduction, I already felt like there was a chance for belonging. But what really cemented it for me was the actions that GitLab takes. This event right now, things like the career development conversations that I'm able to have that just haven't existed for me in the past at other workplaces. The way that it's backed up through consistent activity. That is what really makes me feel like I belong and that I will continue to belong.
Love it. Samantha?
I feel like I belong here because my ideas and my voices are heard, and I feel like I echoing what Terry said, I feel like I can contribute to conversations on my team and on other teams, and it doesn't matter what my title is or what my team is, that I can be part of those conversations, and that I feel like when I decide to be part of them and contribute to them, the voice that I provide is recognized and heard and considered. Yeah.
Love that. Haley?
Yeah, I'm just listening to everyone's and I can't think about my own. So I'm like, yeah, that. I belong here because, like Anna said, I can be my authentic self, and I lead a team now. And I think a big part of why I belong here is that I empower all of them to do the same. And I feel that that's really important. And for me, I came from a social work background. And so being able to do that today and empower people to be their best and to be able to be their authentic self in their role and be successful is a big part of, I think why I belong here.
I love it. Is it Gosha? I don't want to mispronounce it.
Yes, it's Gosia. I feel like I belong here because not only I share my values, like having my family and my friends as a first place in my life, but only I share value with a company as a whole, which is very important for me. And I think that values are not the nice words written somewhere in a handbook or in the like nice picture on the near the entrance to the company. It's the actions. So both that I can share the values of the company and I see it in action and actually lived in the company is very important to me, and that's why I feel like I belong here.
Thank you. Thank you, Andy.
Yeah, I feel I belong here because 100% what everyone else says, and also feel because we're all kind of different, but we still all share the same values, and I always feel welcome to speak up and feel welcome to raise my opinion, and yeah, I just feel welcome in general, and this is why I belong here.
I'm glad you feel welcome. Thank you, Andy. Emily?
Yeah, I feel belonging just, I think because of GitLab's kind of like iterative approach, like we've never really like aimed for perfection. So it feels like it's safe to make mistakes and to constantly be learning. And I think it's always been a place where I've constantly learned with my peers, and I like that. So
Thank you. Thank you, Gary.
Yeah, kind of the same thing. And also like Terry and Max said, like on days when I don't feel like I'm being a good developer, it doesn't last long. I always have encouragement and people are always kind of lifting me back up and telling me my mistakes are okay.
Love that. Mistakes being okay. Nicholas?
I feel I belong here because I'm valued as a person and not just like a tool or something that gets work done, but as an actual human being. That means a lot.
Love that. I love that. And Caleb, can you take us out?
All right. So I feel like I belong here because I have a large number of neurodiverse traits that I've had to hide in other places. And here I don't have to hide it, and it is embraced, and I'm able to utilize it to be more effective. And I really appreciate that.
I love that. I love that. I love that. I think you all are fantabulous people, and I know that you all belong here. I hope that you feel like you can take some things away with you from today, use them throughout the week, give them as gifts of knowledge to your team members, or just use them in your personal life. So thank you for taking the time to dial in today and sign up for this session, because I know you didn't have to with your bandwidth. So thank you.